We are close now. We have a window where all our foes will be in the same place at the same time. It almost seems too good to be true. In films, it's so easy for the heroes to just break into the bad guy's mansion, guns blazing. I can't help but feel that won't be how things happen at Pagona's mansion. Yet that dream seems so clear, so reassuring. Perhaps we do have a chance at actually beating this thing. We've gathered the things we need, the items of the occult and Bjorn. The more physical. Something still feels off though, but there isn't any time to think on that. If we don't deal with this curse tonight, I feel we'll not make it out of that mansion alive. This is Red Moon Roleplaying.
Hawkowl, I think about the palace every night. About what we did. About that little boy. Do you think we will ever be forgiven?
No. I don't think we will.
She nods as you leave the Club Banana Split behind. And you are back on Ripperbahn. Carver meets you there. You have noticed nothing out of the ordinary, just what you see on Ripperbahn, which is anything but ordinary.
I nod to Carver as I come out, seemingly nothing in hand, and giving me a little smile. Well, things are sorted. We will get what we need.
Are you really some sort of Swedish special services? Whatever. I thought that was a joke earlier.
Yes, yeah. I did serve in the Swedish Special Forces. I was posted in Russia for a while and then in the United States.
Huh. The more you know. Thank God.
I'm planning to take a trip to the marketplace where I know a good reseller of used carpets, the thick, nice Arabian kind, but to a very, very small price. They usually have their stains or missing bits, but they're thick and good for keeping away unwanted glass from your body in case you need to climb over it.
Alright, you get what you need. I'll stay in the car for this one. I need to look over the notes I've made. I need to be ready.
Alright, also see if there's any more correlation between Philip and Magda that we need to take into account, or that could just be interesting. And I move to my car and drive off to my little favorite market.
You know the shop that sells what you need, and you're able to get a hold of a rug that you think will be perfect for your,
Excellent. I hold it up and I admire it a bit, and I also take the time to smell it for a bit.
This is a rug with history.
You will make a fine asset, my friend. Good. And I roll it up and I bring it over to the car.
You leave Hamburg and Reeperbahn behind, and you start heading for Berlin again. You start heading towards Sasha Pagodin's estate. During the drive, Carver, you've been glancing at the records that you got from Dr. Richter. You looked at the years for when Magda was in the hospital, for when Philip was there. It looks like they were both committed in 1962. Something very serious seems to have happened then. Another interesting point is 1968. You find a note saying that this is when Magda's husband, Lev, when he was found dead. You remember Irene mentioned the black boils. She was committed to the clinic during this time, and you find records indicating that Philip visited her a number of times, and that his visits were denied that she did not want to see him. You can't help but wonder if these black boils... Was it Philip that killed Lev? They were a couple before, after all. Magda and Philip. You saw pictures of that in the apartment. Maybe he really loved her. You arrive in Berlin. It's afternoon now. What do you do?
It's time to reach the pickup point. It shouldn't have been too long for my dear friend Anna, or Buzzard, to collect all the things and make sure they're sent to the pickup place, which would be a workshop on the outskirts of Berlin. So I'd like to go there and see if we got everything.
You head over there. It's a rather quiet area. The workshop looks to be like it's actually being used regularly, but as you arrive, it is empty. Nobody is there. You park your car and you head inside, and on a table in the middle of this workshop is a number of big black duffel bags.
I move over to them and I start opening them and taking their contents and putting them methodically on the table in a long row in front of me to make sure we got everything we need.
It's all there.
I'm looking at the ladder that's been supplied lying on the floor, and I raise it up against the wall. I climb up against it, shake it a little bit, go down. I check the Kevlar armors, I check the gun for Carver, I check the Uzi, the silencers, and I start working with them. I start picking them apart, piece by piece, checking all the clips, making sure they're filled with ammo. I'm making this a sort of a ritual. I'm sort of disconnecting for a bit as I do this. I like doing this. This makes me feel even more focused. Something is about to happen. It makes me excited. And it seems like everything is good and in order, just like I need it. So I start rearranging it back into the duffel bags, and I take off my suit and I start running on the spot. I run between the walls in the workshop. I do push-ups, I do exercises, something to take the edge off of the approaching feeling of adrenaline and things that will come. And after that I sit down.
I watch all this with some degree of fascination. Can't believe how different he seems now compared to just a few days ago. This skill set of his. I can't help but feel I'd be completely and utterly screwed if he wasn't here. Or at least, I might not have made as quick progress. I, to be honest, just take some time to relax and then just read over the notes, read over the ritual. I would have liked to have tried to do a bit more research in these last few hours, but again, you probably don't have time.
No, you focus on memorizing the ritual, memorizing the steps, memorizing what you're supposed to say. You hope that you will have enough space to do this, that the guards won't come after you, that the dogs won't be sent after you. You don't like dogs, right?
No. Not that I'm afraid of them, but I've always just thought they're a bit loud for me.
Yes.
And of course, through all this, I'm really trying not to think at all about what I'm actually going to do. After all, I've only actually conducted a few rituals in my entire life, proper rituals. I'm trying not to think of what could possibly go wrong.
I walk over to the table and I pick up the gun that was intended for Carver, and I come over to him and I hold it up. I think it would be better that you have one of these than that you don't.
I understand.
I am not encouraging you to use it other than in absolute emergency. Don't worry, I will have your back on this.
Thanks, I'll try and have yours.
Good. Do you want to practice?
I suppose I should a little, just to get me used to the backfire.
Don't worry, this is a standard unit. It's not particularly strong, the recoil is manageable. You should be fine.
This is a Heckler & Koch VP70. It's got a nice polymer frame on it. Feels quite light. Sits very nicely in your hand.
So I take the gun from Bjorn, and I let him, I imagine, take me through some basics. I've, not fired a gun often, but I've done it once or twice. And I'm just shooting a few blanks. But I just can't help but think about tonight, how big this ritual is. The steps, the words. It's something I didn't want to do ever again.
The images come back to you. The memories. You can't quite touch them. It's like they're locked away from you, hidden in some dark corner of your mind. You remember just steps of that first ritual, how you drew up the patterns using blood.
Yeah. I kind of, at this point, try to just move on from this. Should I roll now?
Yes.
It's a +0 roll, so no modifiers. 2.
Your mind is overcome with the images, with the memories. They're so vivid. They're so clear. It's like you lose track of what you're even doing. Your hand picks up one of the magazines that are not containing blanks, puts it in the gun, and all of a sudden, you're pointing the gun right at Björn. Björn, what do? Carver is now holding a loaded weapon against you. He's sweating profusely, shaking, and really does not seem to be himself.
Carver, focus! And I take his arm and I twist it down.
Sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if we can do this. So much that can go wrong. How the hell are we gonna get past that many people? And then I have to do this ritual. You don't understand. Fuck!
Keep it together. Listen. You're fine. We've got each other. I'll take care of the people. You're gonna excel at this ritual. I've seen you working through it. You've got it. You've got it memorized. You know what you're gonna do.
Carver, there's one thing that you're completely sure of, and that is that you're not going to be able to hold any gun tonight. You wouldn't trust yourself with it, not after this. You will have to go in unarmed.
No, I hand the gun back to him. No, I can't. I just can't. I think I've already killed one person.
Calm down.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's not like you needed it from the start. Good. It's better that you realize that now than later. Focus on what you need to do, and let's set out in half an hour.
It's night. Pitch black. The new moon offers no light. You've arrived at Sasha Pagodin's estate. The meeting is supposed to start at 10 o'clock. It's now about 15 minutes before the set time. The compound is illuminated. That is the only source of light in this forested area. You can see some Mercedes and limousines start to drive up to the house, one after another. You are up on the hill overlooking the estate. You have a very good view of what's going on.
I want to make sure that I know who is in there. So I'm gonna observe who is coming in with the cars?
You see a total of 17 middle-aged men in dark suits step out of the limos and the fancy cars. The cars are then parked outside the wall. Bodyguards and chauffeurs talking and smoking in the graveled lot outside the wall. You see that they seem to be familiar with each other. The men that you saw enter the estate, you recognize many of them. They are very, very powerful people in Berlin. Really the elite. Similar to the kind of crowd that you spent time with in Hamburg at the Gold Plaque Awards. It seems as if Sasha Pagodin and the Russians have very powerful friends.
What the hell? Why are all these people here?
I don't know.
Then something you did not see before starts happening. You see that the guards, they start to lock up the dogs in the kennel. And they're now moving outside the walls. They're, instead of being inside the walls patrolling, they're actually now outside, patrolling the perimeter of the wall with flashlights in groups of 2, without dogs. They're divided up, each controlling seemingly their own zone. Some more time passes and you start to hear the dogs bark violently and crazily, as if something has come over them.
I tug a little on the uniforms that I've put on. How are we going to get round now? We're going to need to make a full circle without looking suspicious, and they're patrolling and everything.
I'm considering the options. I don't want to leave anything to chance.
I just look at Jenkins for a moment. I just whisper to him.
But you see, Jenkins, look, I'm not going to have a weapon. I'm going to try tonight, yeah? You believe me, right? I'm going to try and not hurt anyone.
Jenkins looks up at you. You've brought him all the way up the hill.
I almost am not in a state to question how he kind of followed me, but follow me he did, I guess.
He did. He's there with you.
Right. Okay, I'll observe the situation then now. 2 10s.
There is one group that's a little bit more exposed than the others. You think you can either opt to take this group out or try to sort of sneak in the area between the zones controlled by 2 different groups of guys. You will get a bonus on both of those using this observe the situation roll that you've just done.
Bjorn, what do you think if you lead the way? I think we can sync up with that patrol. We can at least do the first circle. What do you think?
Yeah. I am considering it. How are they communicating?
They have earpieces. They have some kind of radio. For the outer circle, you can actually do this some ways away from the wall.
Oh. As in, could we start doing it now without drawing any attention?
Yes.
Oh, all right. I look down at Jenkins at this point and go, Jenkins, you should probably point to the car. Get back to the car, buddy. It's best you don't follow me on this one, okay?
Yes, he runs off towards the car, stops, looks back, and then continues.
I nod, and I suppose this gives me at least a bit of clarity to start getting out the, I believe it's the black sand and the soot.
Yes.
I begin making the outer circle.
You face the moon's darkened visage. You hold up the cup of soot in your right hand and the black sand in your left. And you begin walking counter to the sun's orbit. You're visualizing a circle around the temple while you're sprinkling these 2 lines from the cups. Sand for the outer circumference and soot for the innermost. You are reciting the summoning.
Achdarat Chagidiel, ferocior, Malkuthat, Adnanan, opressior, Cirkulo, stadat, Cirkulo, fundat, Nomine Chagidiel, disparat, carnata, perdotris, Achdarat.
And then at the end of each verse, I suppose I'll say all three of the names: Philip Kramer, Sasha Pagodin, Anton Mahler.
And with your third eye, you visualize the temple as an abyss into which your tormentors will fall. The first circle is thus complete.
Okay. Once we're finished here, I'm gonna see the largest gaps in between the patrols, like the one Carver has observed and suggested. And then we're gonna make our way up with our carpet and our ladder in hand to get up over and then to climb our way down on the other side. The plan is to kick off the ladder so that it falls into the bushes, and hopefully not attracting attention to the guards, who don't seem too observant at this situation anyway.
Alright, Bjorn, let's do this.
I want you to roll for act under pressure now to make your approach and to do this. You have plus 1 from your observe the situation roll. And since you rolled so high, I will actually give you a plus 2.
$16.
10.
You make your way to the wall. It's the right spot, right between where the teams are operating. It's a good amount of bushes here. You get the ladder up, climb up, and you put the rug over the top of the wall, right?
Yeah, over the glass.
Over the glass and over the razor wire. The alarm goes off and you start to hear like woo 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 woo. You make your way over, and just as Carver almost reaches the top, you see flashlights lighting towards where you are. You hear footsteps getting closer. Someone has seen you. There's 2 men down there. They're trying to shine their light on you. And then you hear 2 thuds right after each other, one after the other. And then the flashlights are lying on the ground still. The bodies of the guards twitch a bit and are then completely still. It's silent.
As I see the guards falling down, my hand already on its way to my gun, I just freeze up for a few seconds. And I think to myself, Finch. Or someone else. Maybe Buzzard sent someone. No time to think. Let's move in.
You get across, Carver. You're both inside the estate now. You hear the dogs barking. They're barking like crazy.
Let's go. Move towards the walls.
Alright. How does it look on the inside now? How are the patrols?
There's no one here. All the guards are on the outside. It's just this nice green grass and the house, the one-story mansion in front of you. There's no one else here.
In that case, I'm going to make my way to the correct distance I now judge and try and begin the second ritual.
You do so. Bjorn, what do you do?
I put on the posture of one of the guards, and I walk in front of Carver as to try and take any possible attention.
I make sure the new moon is facing behind me. I have a moment of actually realizing I didn't check accurately what the moon would be, but I guess it actually is a new moon today. Thank, well, God, I suppose. I make sure I'm at the right distance. I then take the copper bowl with some of my blood in my right hand. This was prepared earlier, actually, while we were at the doctor's, safely. You know, a little bit of a syringe job. And then I hold the bowl of blood from the clean blood in my left hand, walking counter to the sun's movement and visualizing a circle. As I mix the cursed and pure blood upon the ground, I recite the following: Deorgaoth, Chagidiel, Thaumatorgion, ex cricificio, ex carnation, ex mondato, ex Homo, degrati, pardanat, Carnath. And I visualize the circle's interior as an abyss into which all this shit and horror that we've experienced will fall. And then, when it's finished, I take one step into the circle. I look to Bjorn and say, "Right. Now the fun part. I think you're going to have to point a gun at a few people."
We'll see. So what did the dream suggest that the temple was in? Where do we need to get in?
It's probably below the house in the basement.
I think we gotta get underground, Carver. The dream suggested that this place where they're doing, or where they'll be, is below surface.
What if they're not there?
Well, then we'll be in a place that's probably one of the safest entry points anyway.
Very well. Alright, let's go.
I start making my way towards the garage ramp.
The gate to the garage is down, and it looks firmly locked. There's no keyhole or anything to open it up with. It's probably controlled by some kind of remote control. You could probably get this open if you had the proper tools, like, a small forklift. It doesn't seem as if this is going to be the way to get inside. Perhaps the main entrance.
Right. This is probably controlled either from the inside somewhere. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to try the main entrance.
I nod, saying, I guess this will be the moment where your disguise skills come into play if needed. But alright, let's just try walking in like we're supposed to be there, maybe.
Alright, straighten up. Just relax. We're fine.
Okay.
The door to the main entrance, it's a very nice, ornate door. It's got a triple lock. And you have exactly the tools that you need to open this.
I move up slowly. I look around for security cameras or anything else that would be observing us. I mean, we're starting to move towards the light now, so I'm kind of curious who would be seeing us.
You do not notice any security cameras here, at least, or they're very well hidden.
Right. I'm thinking that it's probably a good idea to start catching speed. Those bodies outside the wall will be detected, and the alarm has gone off after all, so I quickly pull up the toolkit and I start operating the locks.
Roll to act under pressure.
18.
As you start to open the lock, you actually notice that there is a camera pointed at the main entrance. You almost missed it that first time. What's good though is that it seems to be moving in a sort of panning motion, covering the main entrance but also the area around. If you act quickly enough now, you should be able to make it inside without being noticed, you hope. And all the training just kicks in, and you make quick work of this lock. The door shuts behind you just as you imagine that the camera has reached the spot where it would have seen you.
Right. We're actually in.
You come into a hall with impersonal furnishings. The lights are on. It's apparent that this house is probably mostly used for meetings. It doesn't have this feeling of being lived in, really. There's 3 Japanese lacquered tables with twisted glass sculptures that are positioned along the wall. Surrealistic copper engravings hang on the walls. You hear a faint murmur of laughter and voices coming from somewhere below you. There is a hallway on your right with a number of doors. There is some kind of conference table of some kind, or dining table perhaps, in front of you some ways away. Yeah, you see some closed doors, and further on your right you see what must be perhaps a living room?
Well, I want to try and find the possible entrance to the basement, I think. It's a miracle that no one's here to greet us.
They obviously aren't expecting company at this point. I lean over towards the, on the map, room number 2, and I just sort of listen at the door.
You can hear the humming of electronics and smell cigarette smoke. If you had to guess, this is probably the guard room, and it seems to be manned currently. Perhaps this is where all the cameras can be seen from.
I sort of just look towards Bjorn, kind of waiting for him to take a lead on this.
I'm thinking here, what's the more prudent course of action? Would it be to take those out, or would it be to try and sneak under the radar?
You have a feeling that when it comes to these cameras, if what's going on here is what you think, if there's some really, really disturbing shit that's being done, they probably don't want video evidence of that. So it's probably mostly about trying to spot intruders. You would guess that the cameras are probably mostly around the wall outside or at the main gate.
Most likely these people wouldn't even want to get seen on the cameras in a place like this.
Can I use an edge at this point to get a clue, and the clue be like really remembering now the dream, like if I can remember which way maybe leads down?
You close your eyes, and the word kitchen. The word kitchen. The stairs are in the kitchen. Stairs to the basement are in the kitchen.
Stairs to the basement are in the kitchen. How would I know that? Is that what it was in the dream? Bjorn, I think we need to try and find a kitchen of some kind. It's not this door. Maybe down this corridor, though.
Well, that would probably be close to the conference room, perhaps.
All right.
Let's move up there.
As you get close to the living room, you hear some sounds. You overhear two people talking. Can't really make out what they're saying. There seems to be two people in the living room.
I just freeze and lean against the wall, trying to make no sound.
You hear what they're saying. It sounds like guards talking. Man, this shit is messed up. I mean, I know rich people are eccentric, but come on, this is extreme. The other man answers. They pay us well. They will continue to do so as long as we keep our mouths shut and any intruders out. People suffer every day all over the world. This is nothing compared to Romania or Belarus, man. It's easier once you embrace that fact and take what's yours. Create a better life for yourself and your family, right? Make sure they don't get used like this. Yeah, okay. Hey, we should do another check. You should stand around here. And you start to hear footsteps.
I take the closest door and go in there.
You take the closest door to where you're standing. And you find yourself standing in a large, modernized kitchen. There's a gas wood stove in the middle of the room. The walls are lined with cupboards and shelves. At the farthest end, there's a large pantry.
I very carefully close the door behind me, and I listen for any signs that they would be coming in here.
They seem to be passing by on the outside. But you notice something else. There's someone in here, facing away from you. He was sort of hidden behind some of this cooking equipment. You You see the back of a man with headphones on. Must be listening to a Walkman. He seems to be preparing plates of snacks. Sort of sings to himself a little bit. Sounds like Thai.
I look around. What else do we have? Do we have any exits or doors?
There's stairs leading down on your right.
Hmm.
I guess. Trying to convey through pure look. Kind of look to the stairs, and look to the man, and look to the stairs, and then look at Bjorn.
I walk as if nothing whatsoever, and I just walk down the stairs, feeling very guard-like.
You see the cook turn around, look at you, nod. You don't think he saw you totally. Goes back to his cooking.
I take a deep breath as I have been trying to also emulate coolly walking down the stairs. Probably not as well, but hopefully not too badly.
It's good enough, you think. You hope. You pray. You come down the stairs into the basement. There's a number of doors here. 3 of them. One of the doors is marked storage. On one it's written boiler room. And then there's one unmarked door.
Be good to know what's in these other rooms as well, the smaller storage rooms. Let's just have a look in the boiler and the storage room.
You open the door to the food storage. And yes, it's various foodstuffs for the kitchen. A big refrigerator, essentially.
Good.
The boiler room is exactly what it is supposed to be. There's a boiler in here. It's making the noise that a boiler makes. Other than that, there's nothing interesting here. You hear this murmuring. It's gotten louder. You hear... Is that screams? Yes, it's screams.
I quickly take a peek into the third door, the unmarked one.
You look inside. This room is furnished with 2 sofa tables arranged around low glass tables. Colored light bulbs give the room a bluish sheen. On one of the short walls there's an open fireplace. There are no mats in front of the fireplace. The red stone floor is exposed, with signs carved in the bricks. In front of the fireplace there are 10 polished skulls, neatly piled on top of each other. The skulls are painted with pentagrams and other occult symbols. A bowl of soot sits in front of them, containing several sweet-smelling incense sticks. There is another closed door ahead of you.
Before entering, I also try and peek the door that leads to 4. Little side bit.
That is then going back into where the stairs are. That leads in to the garage. There's 2 cars here. A grey BMW 850i. And next to the BMW there's a grey Volkswagen van. You see a wall closet that's open, and there's a number of different license plates in there. 20 or so. Probably you can switch license plates on these cars. That may come in handy.
Does this van look familiar?
This is not the van that was watching the apartment in Hamburg. This is a different one. That van was a silver Dodge van.
Pure. What do you think this might be? Potential escape plan? Drive out, get to our cars at least a bit quicker.
And looking around quickly just to see if there's a control for the door as well then.
There is.
Okay, so let's go into this big, ominously lit blue room.
Yes. I step in, probably in front of him, and I step over to those skulls for a moment. I want to reach out my hand and touch one, and then I don't, remembering last time.
Yes. And you hear sounds coming from the door on your left. The room marked 8. There seems to be a large gathering of people in there. Perhaps all of them.
looking at the skulls in front of me, so well placed, clearly there's a reason. If I concentrate, do I feel anything regarding the illusion here? Or is it less than it was with the other skull? What was that about?
All these people, because you see that these are real skulls, they have gone through what the skull you touched earlier has. They would show you likely the same horrible experience. Your instinct to not touch them seems to be the correct one.
Bjorn, just don't touch anything here, okay?
Sure. So, I think we got a big crowd in that room. Not really my department of what we're gonna do now. Are we supposed to kill these people before we do the ritual, or are they supposed to be kept alive?
No, they need to be alive, the three of them. Anyone else, I'm not sure. Though there's one thing I'm thinking. If my theories are correct, possibly some of their power comes from these. Maybe that's why they keep them. Maybe if I go forward and just start trying to nudge them a little over, like maybe if I just disrupt this a little, we can rob them of some of what might be waiting for us.
The pile collapses and the skulls sort of just roll out on the floor. You feel nothing. You've made this room a bit messier, that's all.
It's worth a shot.
What do we hear from the other room that's in here?
The room at the very end.
Yeah.
You hear sobbing sounds.
You know, I think they might have some captives in here. And that screaming, did you hear that? Do you think they're using people for something?
I guess there's only one way to find out. If you want to go in this room before we head forwards.
Alright. I'm gonna open the door.
You open the door. Inside, you find 5 people. 3 of them women and 2 boys, and seem to be around 14 maybe. They have handcuffs on, and their feet are also chained together. They're sitting on the floor, just seeming to be in almost a catatonic state. You get the feeling that they're not German. Something about them, Polish, perhaps? Further east, in any case.
I look at Carver with a questioning look, as if, should we do something here?
Of course, but maybe I didn't. I'm not the best at speaking to. I kind of go forwards, and I kind of just remark, "Hello."
One of the women look up. Help, help. You have to help us.
I go over quickly. I look them over. Of course, we're going to try. What do you know about this place? Who brought you here? What happened to you?
I don't know. I don't know anything. But they're going to kill us. They're going to kill us like they killed all the rest. You have to help us out of here.
We're going to need some time, okay?
Okay.
We'll come back when we've dealt with them.
Okay, don't leave us here.
And then we'll all... No, of course not. Of course not, no. I look to Bjorn. Do you think you'll be able to get the restraints off?
Look, we take these people out, and these ones will be saved. We gotta focus on that now.
Yeah, I know, but we...
Come, Carver.
I promise. We'll be right back. We're going to help you. We're here to stop this, okay?
She looks at you with begging eyes, and she nods as if she trusts completely that you will save her.
What's your name?
Agatha. My name is Agatha.
Agatha. I'm Carver. We'll be right back, okay?
Okay.
Good, okay.
You leave the room where whatever they are, were. You're back in this ante-room with the pile of skulls now rolled out on the floor. What do you do?
Okay, Carver, what's the final step? What do we need to do?
the final step is going to be having all 3 of them standing very still while I do a third circle around them. I have a feeling, though, that we're going to be walking to a room with up to maybe 10, 11 people in, and they're not probably going to want to cooperate. You are probably going to have to, be the hostage man or something. I don't know. You're going to have to take this. I haven't got any weapons on me.
You do, however, Bjorn. In your hands, you have what?
In my hands, I have both of my hands on my silenced Uzi, and on my belt, on my side, I have 2 flashbang grenades. I'm thinking if I should shock and awe this possible crowd that we will have in there. And I'm gonna have to make a quick decision as we enter, if that is the case. They'll first see me as a guard, but they'll probably quickly recognize me if there is someone there. Yeah, that knows me. And there just might be.
I also feel, Bjorn, you're going to have to be very careful here. I mean, if we have evidence, we have evidence, but if we don't make this, then you saw it, police commissioners, the mayor or something. You don't necessarily want to shoot people if we don't have to, right?
Of course.
In that case, do you want to open the way? I'll be right behind you.
Stand up against the wall for a bit, will you?
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have to make a quick call here and see if I can keep this crowd from doing anything stupid, but if they do, I'm gonna have to throw my grenade and close the door as quickly as I can.
Alright, but wait, just take a little look first and see what you're dealing with if you can. You don't want to throw it into a room where there's no one in there or something. We don't know if this is temples through this door.
There's a lot of sound coming from inside the room. There is a lot of people in there. More than 10.
I open the door.
And inside you see a large gathering of people. You recognize many faces, people you've seen in the newspaper and on TV. The men that you saw entering from the limos and the Mercedes. They're wearing robes. Some are standing and some are crouched down over something in the middle of the room. Black pieces of cloth hang on the walls. There's inlaid signs of silver and copper wire on the floor. In the middle of the floor, there's an altar with sides made of smoke-colored glass, painted with red and white signs. The altar is covered with blood, and a now lifeless, mutilated, naked body with his abdomen cut up is lying slumped over the altar. It's one of the boys. This looked to be same age as the ones in the room there, 14 maybe. It's obvious that it was a slow and painful death. 2 other bodies in a horrible state lie next to the altar as if they've been discarded after whatever ritual took place here. Much of their skin is missing, and it's really impossible to determine if they were men or women. The robed men they're eating them. Roll to keep it together.
9.
This will not stand. These men, they must be punished. They must get what they deserve. You pick up the Uzi. You were meaning to do something else with this weapon. You were meaning to perhaps scare them. But you can no longer let them leave. They must get what they deserve. Right, Bjorn?
You sick bastards! And I pull up the rifle, and I'm trying, because I'm a methodical killer after all, but I'm gonna do controlled bursts, and I'm gonna kill as many of these fuckers that I can.
You fire, and you fire, and you fire until your magazine runs out, and you switch into another clip, and you continue firing. There was a panic that broke out at first, but now the room is completely silent. They're all dead. You count at least 15 bodies in here. You've just murdered some very, very important people.
I turn the corner to look myself. I have a moment where I almost feel like retching at the macabre scene of madness in front of me. I don't say anything, though, as I look to Bjorn for a moment. In a way, I don't really feel I can judge him, but... Oh, God. Oh, God.
I go up to the nearest one and I kick them, and I murmur and I bite my teeth together and you fucking, why the fuck did you kill these people? What were you doing and what is this for? I fucking hate you so much.
Bjorn, focus. Focus. I run into the room and now I'm immediately going to bodies and just trying to focus faces. Are they here? Mauler? Kramer? Are they here?
They're not. At the end of this room is a steel door. Carver, a black aura is radiating from this door. That's where they are.
I move to the door quickly, pause and go, Bjorn, here now. Don't shoot yet. Don't shoot.
I'm reloading the final empty clip, and I stand there and I just breathe for a bit and try to regain my focus. Okay. Carver. What do we do?
Open the door. They know we're here now. We've just gotta try and control them. We only need a little bit of time. Let's open the door. Open the door. Gun ready.
You open the door. In the middle of the floor, there's an altar built from concrete blocks, mortared with white glue and stained brown with blood. There's more than 50 polished skulls arranged around the altar. Some still have flesh and skin on the bone, while others are completely clean. Coarse signs and symbols are carved into the concrete floors and colored with blood and ashes. At first sight, the carvings appear to be magical symbols, or could that be the floor plans of a building? Woven in and around the drawing on the floor are numerous signs of large C's with lines crossing through them. The 3 Russians are standing there, robed and carrying large, bloodied, serrated knives. They have blood all over their robes and faces, and they seem to be preparing to carry out a ritual on the altar, as if they did not notice what happened in the room next door. They're completely focused on what they're doing, and they don't seem to have noticed what happened. Behind them are what must be further sacrificial victims. A woman and another boy, completely catatonic. As you see them there, what do you do?
I try to restrain myself after what just happened, but I find it very hard, and I'm keeping my Uzi at a low aim. And I look at Carver.
I guess I just keep it together, and partially I'm amazed we've even got this far. I can't believe we've got this far. It's just so unbelievable. But we're here. I just say, Philip Kramer, you son of a bitch, turn around.
You yell this and you enter the room. They stop. And they just sort of freeze and stare at you. All 3 of them. They look terrified. Similar to when you first saw them. As if they're seeing their worst nightmares in front of them. They're completely petrified. Björn, suddenly he's there. Right next to you. Vova, just as you remember him. In full military gear with a pair of night vision goggles on his helmet. He's holding a Dragunov sniper rifle with a suppressor on it. He smiles. You used to love that smile and how it made you feel. Perhaps you love it still?
Yeah. I hadn't even thought about that.
You lead an interesting life, Hawk Owl. Barikad. I just had to get a taste of it. I just had to get close to you again. Before... Well, best finish what you started. Go on.
Finch.
Bjorn, something you've not been telling me?
I look to Kara and I look back again, and now convinced that it's not an illusion all of a sudden.
It is definitely not an illusion. He is here.
Finch, what do you want?
You know what I want. You know what I want, but this is not the time. You must finish what you started.
My emotions fly for a bit. Seeing him there makes me feel reassured. It makes me remember missions and how we'd worked together. And I look at the 3 robed men and I say, "It's your time, gentlemen. It's your time." And I
hold my hand up just for a moment. I go, wait. First of all, Kramer, what the fuck is this all been about, eh? What's with all this looking at us so terrified? You should be terrified, but why the fuck did you do this to us? You have to realise you brought this on yourselves. We wouldn't even be here if you hadn't tried to pull this shit.
He doesn't say anything. He just stares at you. You realize that this is the time. You must do it now.
Damn it! You killed Magda as well, your friend!
He starts crying as you say that, still petrified, unable to move. They all seem to be fighting against something inside of them, something that has them under control.
Huh.
Or is it you, perhaps?
After completing the first circle, I just walk over to one of them. Not Kramer, perhaps. Which one looks physically the weakest?
If it's not Kramer, then Pagodin is... Mahler is sort of a fit agent type, so...
I just flat out punch him in the face and go, "You gonna be quiet too? All of you gonna be silent?"
He grits his teeth, but doesn't seem to be able to do anything towards you. Doesn't seem to be able to take any action towards you.
I do the second circle, and I stop again, and I go, "Do you think I want to do this to you? Do you have any idea what I'm about to do? I don't want to do this. I could stop. You could just explain, and we could sort this out."
You get nothing. Just an angry stare from Mahler.
Don't you look at me then. Look at what you've done. Dealing with things you don't understand for your own selfish gain. This doesn't help anyone. This just causes suffering. Oh, you sons of bitches, we don't have... I look to the door. We don't have time. I complete the 3rd revolution. I pause for a moment. Last chance. God, could at least mutter something. Draw something. Point at something.
Nothing.
Oh, you sons of bitches. Chagidiel, Achdarat Chagidiel, nekrat, Chagidiel, incarnat.
You complete the ritual, and they start shrieking in terrible pain, falling to the ground, writhing uncontrollably. Their thrashing intensifies as you invoke the last sentences of the ritual. And suddenly the ground trembles in a low vibration, growing into a small earthquake. A rumble is heard. Fluorescent bulbs in the ceiling explode and scatter glass shards everywhere. At the same time, the room's 4 walls crumble away with a hideous crash. You're blinded in a cloud of dust. An ice-cold wind rushes forward, swirling in front of you. And Vova, this wind, it's as if it's inspecting you. Somehow Vova doesn't look affected or surprised by what he is seeing. He just keeps smiling at you, Björn. A bluish light sparkles in the air, illuminating a large hall which stretches out around you. Coarse pillars support the ceiling. There's a rhythmic rumbling as that of machinery that can be heard. The basement walls lie in rubble over the hall's rough floor. Nothing remains of Pagodin's mansion or anything vaguely resembling it. The 3 Russians continue wailing and spasming on the floor. Slowly, in the distance, 3 dark shapes approach from different directions. The 3 appear to be led by what was once upon a time a young girl with long black braided hair, which now ends in sharp hooks. Her jaw has been torn from her face, and she is wrapped in a blood-soaked ceremonial robe. The other 2 are an emaciated elderly woman with blood flecked around her mouth, and a young woman whose body has been butchered and sewn back together. Her stomach and internal organs are all gone. The only thing holding up her body is her spine. Roll to keep it together.
I'm just sort of stepping back in absolute horror. I don't understand what's going on.
I'm staring at them, focused. 9.
13.
You will take a stability condition here.
I will become sad that what I've done. I didn't want to do this. Look what's happened. This is how it works. What are these things? Fuck this.
This is how it will end. This is how you will die. And Björn, again, the anger takes over. You have your weapon in hand.
So much frustration. So much anger. So much pent up. And all this is too much. Hideous, monstrous creatures. I fire at the abominations that are moving in.
You fire and you empty your entire clip. The bullets just pass through them, not making any kind of dent in them. It's as if it doesn't even touch them. They seemingly ignore you, and they form a circle around the 3 Russians. And without warning, the 3 Russians are turned inside out. Blood and entrails rain down over the women and over you. Roll to keep it together.
We're going to have to do it again?
Yes.
Oh god. Oh god.
17.
You just stare at them.
15.
You both get through it. Vova stands there, now covered in blood, still smiling at you, Björn. 3 identical men rise from the still living and screaming bodies of the 3 Russians. The identical men, they appear in their 40s, slightly overweight with black hair and burning eyes. They're naked and covered in blood and slime. They incarnate incarnations of someone, of him. They slowly approach you. You're filled with an indeterminate sense of discomfort and dread, and you find yourself unable to move. The men each reach out a finger, still dripping with gore, and lightly touch your foreheads, yours and Vova's. A burning sensation rushes through your body, racing from the point the men touched. You're thrown back and you collapse on the ground. Slowly the 3 men fade and disappear. You lie on the floor and you feel defiled as if you've just been dipped in dung.
I take my arm and I just try to remove some of the gore and blood from my eyes and forehead and my mouth.
You do your best, but it's impossible. It's all... the incarnates, they vanish, and the 3 women, they drive rusty meat hooks into the eviscerated bodies of the Russians. They're still alive? They drag the impossibly alive Russians into the dark.
Wait, before they go, can I attempt enhanced awareness to try and focus and try and say something to what these things are?
You attempt it.
Alright, okay, plus 3 soul. 8, 9, 10, oh, phew, just basic impressions, basic communication, if anything. I guess I'll just be like, Why?
The youngest of them speaks in a gurgling, wet voice. You have summoned us. We have come. Your pain belongs to us. We shall meet again. The walls reform and rise around the room. They're gone, and you're back in Pagodin's mansion. The 3 Russians' mutilated bodies have not disappeared. They're still lying at your bloody feet. They are truly dead and silent now. Every inch of the room is drenched in their blood. You hear the last hint of faint footsteps and muffled screams before silence reigns. Reality has been fully restored. Vova is gone.
Finch? Finch?
Above ground somewhere you hear dogs barking.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign The Black Madonna for the tabletop role-playing game Kult, Divinity Lost. The Black Madonna was originally constructed by Gunilla Jonsson and Mikael Petersen in 1991, with additional material for the 2017 edition by Marco Berman, Mattias Fredriksson, Petter Nallo, and Robin Liljenberg. Kult, Divinity Lost is published by Helmgast. The music was created by Atrium Carceri and is used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel to hear more excellent dark ambient. A new episode of Red Moon Roleplaying is released every Friday. Please like our Facebook page and give us comments, input and feedback there. You can also visit us at redmoonroleplaying.com. Finally, a big thank you to all supporters. If you want to show your appreciation and encourage our work, look out for us on Patreon and see if you want to support the show there. While the show will always be free of charge to our listeners, Patreon supporters will have access to extra material, such as a bonus podcast where we answer your questions about the campaign and role-playing games in general. If you just can't wait, you can even get access to the full-length, raw and unedited versions of our gaming sessions way before they are released as finished episodes. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to meeting again next week.